Tokyo. With a population of almost 14 million people, it's no wonder Japan's capital is the heart of Japan. With Tokyo being the heart of this country, that makes Kyoto the soul. Being the capital for more than 1,000 years, from 794 to 1868, it's no surprise the name Kyoto means capital. For many, this place will always be the capital of traditional Japan. When most people think of Kyoto, they think of souvenir shops selling handmade goods, kimonos, green tea, cherry blossoms, and geishas or maikos. A maiko is an apprentice who trains for 2 to 6 years in the arts of music, dancing, and tea ceremonies to eventually become a geisha or geiko, as they're called in the Kyoto dialect. Temples and shrines are also commonly associated with Kyoto. There are over 3,000 Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines located here. Almost 1/3 of Japan's citizens visit Kyoto every year to enjoy its historical atmosphere. Walking through some of Kyoto's narrow streets and seeing the traditional wooden architecture of the shops and houses is always fun. Kyoto is definitely one of my favorite places to visit, and today I want to show you guys something that a lot of people, even in Japan, can't easily see. One of its more unique temples. As many traditional neighborhoods as this city has, there's also a modern side of Kyoto. There's a modern train station, where many trains, including Japan's bullet train, stops at. There's Kyoto Tower, which is a great reference point if you're ever lost here, since it stands higher than any other building in the city. There are a number of modern hotels and restaurants, but today we're going to step back in time to explore a place that's origins date back to over 1,300 years ago. From Kyoto Station to today's temple, it takes roughly 30 minutes by train or 1 hour by bus. Saihoji is more commonly known as Kokedera, or Moss Temple in English. The original temple building was constructed in the 700s, but was then converted into a Zen Buddhist temple in 1339. This temple and its garden were included in UNESCO's World Cultural Heritage Sites in 1994. It's considered to be a historic monument of ancient Kyoto. It's a bit tricky to visit this place. Unlike most temples in Kyoto where you can easily walk in, it's necessary to make a reservation 2 months to 1 week in advance to enter Moss Temple. This is done either online or else through postal mail and requires you to list how many people will be in your group and to give them different possible dates for when you may be visiting. This is so the temple makes sure the number of visitors doesn't exceed a certain amount at any given time. They want to protect the peaceful religious atmosphere of the temple. Up until the 1970s, this temple was suffering from over-tourism, so that's why they decided to implement this reservation style. There's also a 3,000 yen fee to enter, so between the entrance fee and the reservation process, you can see why many Japanese people choose to visit other temples instead. But that's not to say that this temple isn't worth visiting. It's definitely a beautiful place. Once we get inside, you'll see what I mean. Now that we've made our reservation and paid their entrance fee, let's go check out the Moss Garden. Oh, I forgot there's one more thing we need to do before that happens. Besides having the famous Moss Garden, Saihoji Temple is unique in that visitors here need to participate in some of the temple's religious activities. Being that this is a Zen Buddhist temple, they normally ask visitors to do Buddhist chants with a monk and copy down a Buddhist scripture called a sutra. Because of COVID-19, the chanting portion has been temporarily stopped, but I still get to try my hand at copying down a sutra. Not the most beautiful, but legible at least. Okay, now that we've fulfilled the religious requirement of the visit, on to the garden. So as I said earlier, Saihoji Temple was founded in the 1300s. But before it was a Zen Buddhist temple, its origins date back much earlier when it used to belong to a different Buddhist sect. The temple, along with the garden, had fallen into disrepair, and so the priest of the temple at the time asked for a famous gardener to help revive the garden. Later on, the gardens at Kinkakuji Temple and Ginkakuji Temple were influenced by the layout of this garden. Saihoji Garden is 35,000 square meters and has a circular design that wraps around a pond which contains 3 small islands. The greenery that covers the islands along with the area around the pond is believed to consist of more than 120 different varieties of moss. Moss wasn't in the original plan for this garden's design. It started growing here after this area suffered from flooding in the 1700s. It's said that the best time to visit Saihoji Garden is in November or December, when the fall foliage is at its best, or else during Japan's rainy season in June, when the moss is especially green. From the middle of January to the first half of March, Saihoji's garden is closed for routine maintenance, so be sure to avoid those months if you plan to visit. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tour of Kyoto's Moss Temple. It's definitely a unique experience I'll never forget. If you think you'd like to see it for yourself, I recommend checking their official website first. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.